Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we have a serious suspension upgrade for our GP3 and another modification, which is wheels, but we'll come back to that later. So you would have seen us fit the MSS suspension, which tamed the GP3 for road use. Now we've got a suspension kit which is much more suited to the track raw nature of the GP3, and that is a set of Bilstein B16 Clubsport Coilovers. So the kit is fairly comprehensive. It's the top of the line Bilstein kit. It comes with uniball camber adjustment solid top mounts on the front and also solid top mounts on the rear. They are rebound and compression adjustable from these, and Bilstein state that you have almost 100 different variations, so you can set the suspension up exactly how you want it. It's also height adjustable, so on the front you've got the color integrated onto the shock, and on the rear it's a separate adjuster from the damper. As it's the top of the line kit, it comes with a really nice box, as you'd expect, really nice snazzy sort of black envelope approved by Walter Roll, the famous racing driver who helps Bilstein develop these kits. I'm looking forward to seeing what difference this makes on the car. On the road we should be able to dial it in a little bit more so it behaves itself, but the real test is going to come when we can actually go on a track day again. I'm not sure when that is. The UK is about to go into lockdown again, but as soon as I can get the car on the track I will do. So let's get this kit on the car. We'll lower it down as far as we can go just to show off the new wheel setup we've got, and then I'll take it out for a road test. So Hash has put the Bilstein B16 Clubsport on the car, very high quality kit. We've actually set the ride height to the lowest it will go, and we've set the rebound and the bump to the midway point. So on these cars, 1 is softest and 10 is stiffest. So we'll set it at midpoint on both front and rear, and we'll drive the car and see how we get on, see what adjustments we need to make. But at some point I will take it somewhere and have the suspension set up properly, because that is not our forte. This is a good opportunity to have a look at the wheels we're going to put on the car. So as soon as the Union Jack lights were on the LCI Mini, I knew I wanted to do a set of wheels inspired by the Union Jack. That original inspiration comes from a set of Hartger wheels which came out probably around 2005, 2006. Hartger are no longer around, and they done a Union Jack wheel on the 4-spoke wheel, and I knew as soon as I saw that I wanted to do something inspired by that, and this is what we've come up with. So myself and my business partner Taryn, who co-owns 6Sixty Design, we came up with a Union Jack style wheel, but we've added a really cool feature here which is raised and can be color coded. So on these wheels we've color coded them to the red on the GP3, and we've also added some nice GP3 detailing down here. So these wheels are forged, they're in the same size as stock, and the stock wheels are actually very light at 9 kgs, and we've matched the weight of the stock wheels, so you're not losing any performance by fitting these, but you're gaining a bit of style. I know a lot of people don't like the stock wheels. I didn't mind them, but I think that these look better. I would be biased because I was involved in the design process. So they're fully forged, same size and same offset as stock. We've gone for the stock tires. And on the stock wheels, I'm going to put track tires on. So when we go back to doing track days, I'll have 2 sets of wheels. These will be my road wheels and the other ones will be my track wheels. So let's get these on the car and have a look at what they look like. I'm really excited to see what they look like when the car's fully lowered. We did have these on with the MSS, but we weren't able to drop the car as much as we wanted from an aesthetic point of view. Bilstein Clubsport suspension is fitted, and because the car had quite an aggressive offset from the factory, it's actually designed for track, I also took the car to centre of gravity to have those boffins set up the suspension for me, and I gave them the task of setting it up so it was suitable for track and also suitable for the road. One of the main gripes on the road was because the camber was so aggressive for the track to make it really good on track in terms of turning and going around corners, on the road it literally would follow cambers in the road quite a lot, and when you accelerated it would kind of shoot off in each direction rather than going in a straight line. Also, the Clubsport kit comes with adjustable top mounts. They are solid as well, so on the rear, downside is they're a little bit noisy, but the adjustable top mounts on the front give us the ability to play around with the camber and tune the suspension to how we want it. The actual damping is set to 4 on the bump and 3 on the rebound, and that makes the actual ride a lot more compliant. I can't really push the car too hard at the moment because I'm not sure how these tyres behave in the cold, but it's 2 degrees today. I don't want any mishaps. It's also quite damp, but immediately I can tell the car is handling the bumps a lot better. The GP3 is very stiff from the factory, but that is because it's primarily designed as a track car. But if you're not using the car 100% on track, it is nice to be able to drive the car on the road and have some compliance. So in terms of what centre of gravity have done to the suspension setup, as I mentioned, the camber was quite aggressive, so they've dialed that out a bit so it's less aggressive. So where the camber is aggressive in terms of that, they've brought it outwards, so it's sitting more like a standard JCW would, and what that does is it allows the car not to tramline as much. So when you cruising along the road, it doesn't want to follow all the cambers, and when you accelerate it actually wants to grip and try and go in a straight line, so you're not having to fight the steering wheel. And I don't think that's actually torque steer on this car in standard form. I do believe it's the way the car has been set up. And the thing with actually going to somebody to properly set your suspension, I'm not talking about fitting it and then actually just doing the factory settings. I'm talking about going to somewhere like Centre of Gravity, having them set the suspension up to how you want it. So they'll talk to you, how do you drive your car, how do you want it to behave? Are you using it on B roads, are you using it on track? And they'll set it up accordingly. So the whole process took a whole day. I'm sorry I didn't get the chance to take Matt with me, he was busy at the time, but I think we will take our M2 up there and show you the whole process. It's actually very interesting. So I gave them the task of setting up the car for road and track use. So they've marked the camber plates for me where it needs to be on the road, and also then more negative camber and toe for the track. So that's pretty useful. Because the weather wasn't ideal when we were setting it up, they've asked me to drive the car around and give them a bit more feedback when it's dry, and if necessary I can go up there and adjust it again. But initial impressions are, even on road use, it's much improved over the stock and also over just the MSS. I would be really interested to try the MSS springs on the rear of this setup and see if that helps even more with compliancy. I mean, at the moment, the only downside I can see is on the Clubsport kit from Bilstein, because it uses solid top mounts and there's no sound deadening in the rear, there's no seats to mask the sound. You do hear them a lot more, but this is not an everyday car for me. It's more fun on country lanes and on track, so I'll forgo the creature comforts when it comes to that. So this is initial impression just on the road. I will get the car to track as soon as I can to give you a comparison against the stock suspension and this. But yeah, I mean, on this road it's just so much more compliant, and when you accelerate it doesn't want to fight you as much, which is fun for a little while, but then starts to get a little bit boring. Hope you've enjoyed our little update with the GP3. So that's the Bilstein Clubsport suspension fitted and set up by Centre Gravity, and also the really beautiful 6Sixty design wheels. Obviously, I'm a bit biased about the wheels. I was involved in the design process, always wanted to do a Union Jack wheel, and I really love the way they've turned out. They look factory and they're just as light as the stock wheels, which are very light in the first place. With regards to the suspension, with the weather, I haven't really been able to push it as hard as I would like to. It's very cold, it's damp. I'm not sure how much grip these tyres have. I'm going to try and get to another track day so I can give you a proper comparison, because as I've said this before, this car is more suited to track. But with the changes that Centre Gravity have made, with the camber and the toe, it is much better behaved on the road. Even in conditions like this, when I'm putting my foot down in a straight line on a road that cambers left and right, it tries to go straight rather than following every camber in the road. The suspension is a track bias suspension, but it's comfortable enough to live on the road. And the only thing I really don't like is the fact that the top mounts are solid and they make a little bit more noise for the road. But again, it's a compromise. It is designed more for track. So once I get the car back on the track, I can give you a direct comparison with the stock suspension, which was actually very good. In terms of what's next for this car, we've still got to put the full Super Sprint exhaust on it and tune it. And you would have seen that we've bought a GR Yaris, and lots of people are asking us to do a comparison video between the Yaris and this, because they're in the same kind of bracket. Yaris a bit cheaper, this is much more expensive and more exclusive, but it's going to be interesting to see how the cars compare. But to do that, we are going to switch this back to stock suspension to make it a fair test. Not sure when we're going to do that. We're going to try and do it this side of Christmas. If not, it will be in the new year, so keep your eye out for that. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you'd like to watch more of this project, you can do so over here. If you'd like to watch what YouTube suggests you might like from our other videos, you can watch that over here. If you like this video, please click on the thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. If you guys have any questions, please drop them in the comment section and we'll do our best to answer them for you.